Good morning. You know this is Facebook Live because you're tuned into Facebook Live. I'm Scott Mitchell. Glad that you're with us. We're going to be talking this morning with Corporation Commissioner Dana Murphy, who is, by the way, welcome, Commissioner.
Hey, thank you.
But we're not talking about Corporation Commissioner. We're talking about Lieutenant Governor race.
Right.
Matt Pinnell will be up in just a minute. We're talking about the Oklahoma GOP Lieutenant Governor primary, and we're going to spend some time on these races. You know, the air gets sucked out of the room for governor's races and state and federal races, and obviously some things happening at 23rd and Lincoln. So we're going to start introducing folks to our viewers on Facebook Live that are out there working on behalf of the state and want to have other offices.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
It's good to see you. So glad you're here. And so what we thought we'd do this morning is we just really kind of set the stage for the GOP primary and introduce you. You and Matt Pinnell have seen a jillion people on the campaign trail, but there's probably some who haven't met you yet. So tell us a little bit about what you do right now.
Okay, well, great. I don't know if it's a jillion. I think it's like 4 million, but it's a lot of people.
Give or take a few.
So right now I'm the chairman of the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. I've served in that capacity. This is the start of my 10th year. I'm a geologist by training and also an attorney, and I think my experience, I'm from Western Oklahoma. I'm a fifth-generation Oklahoman, and so I've really transitioned between rural and urban Oklahoma my whole life. I've lived in Edmond about 25 years, and then as a geologist and an attorney, the majority of my experience is in the private sector, but then as I mentioned again, I've worked as a corporation commissioner for not quite 10 years.
So Lieutenant Governor's in your sights now.
Right.
Why?
I just feel like if we want something different, we have to do something different, and I'm running because I'm ready to do something different. I just feel like some of the issues that have arisen since I've been a commissioner, especially at the legislature, has really, called on me about lending my skill sets, and my skill sets are really having real experience to work on real problems with real results in Oklahoma, whether it's dealing with earthquakes, which we've had good success on that, whether it's dealing with ensuring that Oklahoma's electricity rates are among the lowest in the nation, which they continue to be, and just the pocketbook issues and the economy that affects Oklahomans every day.
What do you think you would use the office if you become the Lieutenant Governor of Oklahoma? What would your platform, what would your agenda be?
Well, I think one thing that we need to see is I think the lieutenant governor role needs to move beyond its traditional role. It's got about 4 constitutional responsibility and 6 statutory responsibilities, and those include everything from serving on behalf of the governor when the governor's out of the state, serving on the Board of Equalization, serving on the commissioners of the Land Office, also as a president of the Senate, but it says with the casting vote. And I've actually compared the Constitution of Oklahoma with Texas. In Texas, the lieutenant governor has a lot of power, but that's because the Constitution spells it out. Then you also have those 6 statutory responsibilities, serving as chair of the Tourism Board and then on several other boards and commissions. And I think it's time to have a lieutenant governor using that position more to collaborate, work with, and partner with the governor, as well as other leaders in the state, the other statewide elected officials, legislators, and leaders in the public to really get to the roots of some of the problems that we've had for some time instead of treating the symptoms that just continue to come back year after year.
It's a good segue to my next question, which was the Step Up program, which went down here recently, also had a number of reforms that people wanted to do.
Right.
One of those that the Step Up folks wanted to do was to have the lieutenant governor and the governor run as a team. Now, we know that in this last year, we've seen some policy difference between Governor Fallin and Lieutenant Governor Lamb. But the Step Up folks, I think, anticipated that. They're saying we really need to hook that up so that the lieutenant governor and the governor are running as a team and agenda-wise and policy-wise be in sync. What do you think about that proposal?
Well, as I've been campaigning, I've come right out and said, I'm going to partner with whomever the people elect as governor. And so I think I've already made that commitment to do that. And if you look at my background, I wasn't elected with the 2 other corporation commissioners that I serve with, but somehow, even despite our differences of opinion and the way we look at things differently, we've been able to collaborate and work together and solve some really difficult problems. So I think my experience shows that I can do that, and if the people want to do that, if they want to combine those, and I think you'd have to have a constitutional change for that to be done, so I think it would take a vote of the people.
A couple of weeks ago, we had folks from Enid and from Pryor talking about rural economic development. Now, I need to say right up front that as the chairman of the Corporation Commission, you're actually a judicial officer. It's like a court. And there's a big case coming up this week. It's dealing with the Windcatcher case where that was being talked about the last couple of weeks. Pryor, Oklahoma, Enid, Oklahoma, a lot of these folks are very much having discussions about energy in Oklahoma. And you know that one of the quickest ways to get into a fight at the table is to talk about wind and oil and gas and gross production tax. Beyond that, in terms of Lieutenant Governor, when you look at what's happening in Pryor and places around the state, what do you think you would want to talk about in terms of energy development in the state of Oklahoma and what's the energy revolution that's happening here?
Well, I think the one thing that we could say is Oklahoma's been recognized as a leader in energy for a long time. I mean, I've spoken on behalf of Oklahoma locally, regionally, and nationally on several boards and commissions, and we're really looked to, whether it's in the electricity sector or really oil and gas development. I think the thing that you can say is, you know, that renewables time has really come. If you look at installed wind capacity, Oklahoma now just surpassed Iowa, so we're really number 2 in the nation, actually behind Texas. We still have a lot of natural gas that's used to generate electricity. So I think it's really, to me, about using the state's resources, whether it's gas or wind. We have some solar penetration, but very small amount. Whatever resources we have to best fuel the needs, you know, of our citizens.
Besides energy, as Lieutenant Governor, what other areas would you work in that, in rural economic development, energy, what are some other areas that you think you could work with the next governor in terms of moving us forward?
I think education is such a key issue. I'm very fortunate in Oklahoma. I was educated in the public school system, and then I graduated from Oklahoma State, and I received my law degree from Oklahoma City University. But you look at education and economic development, and they tie together. It's really about making sure you've got the workforce that meets the needs of businesses that want to grow or businesses that want to come into the state. And not everyone's going to go to college. So I think it's important to make sure that you have opportunities on technical skills for children as well. So I think when businesses are looking to expand and we're looking to come into a new area, I think the work skill area, and that's such a significant component of what you're going to look at as far as bringing business into the state.
Could we take a couple of questions from our Facebook audience?
Sure.
One is from Vicki Courtney. How does she feel about the teacher and school funding as it is playing out right now?
Well, I think I mentioned to you, Scott, before we came on, I'm very fortunate to have a teacher who teaches in the Middale School District, working for me part-time in the evenings. And so it's been really interesting to get her perspective on things, because I think it really goes beyond just what the funding or a teacher pay increase. I think it's the work conditions, the number of students in the classroom. And I think she's fortunate to have an administration that's supportive of her, but many teachers don't have that. So I think funding is just a component of the problem. I think there are bigger issues, the ones that I've already just mentioned. So I think it's something that's got to be looked at. I think when you look at funding, you look at all these situations, and I think you necessarily have to look at reforms. If we're going to do some of these things, what are the expectations to get better results in Oklahoma?
Standing between now and the primary and the general election in November are issues like what we've seen, OEA potential walkout, and OPEA folks have voicing support for that. We have on the primary ballot this spring, we're going to see medical marijuana, which nothing lights up the board, by the way, on Facebook. When you mention that, it lights up, you get lots and lots of questions. Plus the budget, which is at a critical mass, but appears to be the state's economic position appears to be improving a little bit, but there's still an economic hole. Between now and November, if you win the primary in between now and November, what do you think is going to be on the landscape that's going to capture the voters' attention the most?
I still think you're going to see the issues with education. I still think you're going to see the issues with the budget. And I think it's looking for reforms. I mean, to me, I think it's looking for incentives that are in place and exemptions. I think you have to look at efficiencies. Where are some things that we can consolidate or look at? I mean, in the 10 years, almost 10 years I've been at the commission, our jurisdiction has expanded almost every year, and that's not something we went and asked for. That's just something that's been provided to us via the legislature. And then I think you have to look at funding. And so I think you have to look at all those components, and they all tie together, whether you're looking at education, whether you're looking at budget, or whether you're looking at infrastructure, because we've been spending so much money on roads and bridges, and we need to make sure we have a good system in place so that we don't have overweight trucks and some of these other issues that continue to create problems in Oklahoma.
Tell us a little bit about your campaign, how people find you, and what you would like to be doing over the next few months.
Yeah, well, you can find me. Of course, we're all on Facebook and Twitter. Dana for OK. I'm on Facebook. I have a website at danamurphy.com, and you can locate me in those places. I also have, if you go to the website, you can find a phone number. I still think people like to talk, and so I think it's good to have that capability as well. So those are the ways that you can reach me.
Any last words for Oklahomans as people begin to focus on the primaries coming up?
I think it's about real experience, working on real problems to come up with real results. And I think I have a track record of that in our state, whether it's, you know, the issues on earthquakes, whether it's been the issues on electricity, whether it's been issues on pipeline safety, many other issues. I've worked with others across the state. And I would really like to bring my work ethic from Northwest Oklahoma, as well as my skills in the public and private sectors, as well as my background in urban and rural Oklahoma, to work for the citizens of Oklahoma.
Well, we wish you best of luck. Thanks for coming out.
Hey,
because
thank you.
it's, you know, it's a Monday morning. There's a lot of other news going on, but I think it's great to have this audience who's interested in things that are not the headlines and not the first story at 10 o'clock, but often it takes a while for them to make up their mind, doesn't it?
That's
you
right.
have to go over and over these topics, and I think there's not enough coverage of the Corporation Commission, frankly, the things that you do over there. But on behalf of all the Oklahomans, thanks for all you do.
Hey, thank you. It's great to be here.
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dana Murphy, and thank you so much for being with us.
You bet.
All right. Now we're going to take a break, and Matt Pinnell is going to join us. And let me just tell you, folks, that it is easy to follow us on Facebook. Go to news9.com. You can go, well, actually, you need to go to News 9 Facebook, okay? And you can follow that there. You go to Mitchell Talks. Follow me on Twitter at Mitchell Talks. And there's the Mitchell Talks Facebook where you can see this as well. All right. Thank you, Commissioner. And
right.
She'll be leaving us now. And Matt